On the track, Emerson Fittipaldi, a veteran two-time champion, considering trying once more. And in another garage nearby, another generation of Formula One, in the person of Ayrton Senna da Silva, taking his first steps as a main driver. Yes, this rare, unlikely, and little discussed stellar alignment happened, and Emerson Fittipaldi, along with Ayrton Senna, shared the same timing sheet in Formula One, even if only for a day. And you are on Small Great Stories, of course. Every week here on Splash and Go, as you know, a small story from Formula One, or not, as long as it's quick, fun to tell, and nice to know. Let's go! We always hear the story that the Brazilian Formula One champions coexisted very briefly. You raced too, not on the same team, but a lot with Ayrton Senna as well, right? No. The doors were opened by Emerson, who ended his career just as Nelson Piquet was taking off. Nelson and the next Brazilian champion, Ayrton Senna, shared the track for a bit longer, between 84 and 91. But broadly speaking, we know the baton was being passed, and the three did not compete for championships against each other. No. But there was an occasion in January 1984 during the Formula One preseason tests, which are now held in Bahrain, and were then based on the track here in Brazil, I'll get to that, where the first, let's say, and third generation of Brazilian motorsport champions met very briefly. First of all, obviously a bit of context, the preseason took place here in Jacarepaguá, which was also the venue for the inaugural stage. And then for logistical reasons, it made sense to send everything to the same place where the season was going to start. And everyone wanted to escape the cold weather in Europe in January and February. That's because Formula One in Europe is a summer sport. Races take place from March to October, more or less. It's a warm period over there. Therefore, it does little to nothing to gain a real sense of the car's performance and especially their durability by running in the cold of the European winter. That's why, after they stopped coming to Jacarepaguá, they looked for other venues like Kyalami in South Africa. And today, they race in Bahrain. And the Rio track, from a technical standpoint, had many interesting features. A bumpy asphalt that tested the car's endurance, long straights, medium and high-speed corners, ideal for testing aerodynamics. In short, the complete package, which wouldn't be complete, of course, without, let's say, the advantages of a month away from the cold of Europe in the Rio summer. You know how it is? Ayrton Senna was then 23 years old and was the new star debuting on the grid aboard the TG183B, a car from the previous year by Toleman. The new TG184 would only come after the start of the season, powered by a Hart, a turbo engine. Emerson Fittipaldi, on the other hand, was a two-time world champion, having won the 1972 and 1974 seasons with Lotus and McLaren. After another runner-up finish in 1975, he embarked on the venture with the 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮 Fittipaldi team. It's a project I want to talk about one day in teams we love, of course, which in the view of the Brazilian press at the time didn't succeed. However, if you look at the results, with some podiums and points accumulated, it went further, for example, than teams everyone loves, like Minardi. Throughout the trajectory of 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮, Emerson, at the end of the 1980 season, steps away from the tracks, focuses on the role of manager, and leaves Chico Serra and Keke Rosberg in charge of the cars in 81. And then, nearing the end, the operation returns to having only one car. Serra would complete the 1982 season, or the last one, in which he also scored a point. In 1983, without the team, Emerson stays away from the Formula One grid. But Emerson was a driver with an excellent reputation, and when the Spirit team was founded in 1983 by Gordon Koppuk, one of the creators of the McLaren M23, which had given Emerson 2 championships, the connection eventually happened. The team in 1983 was Honda's factory team, which later, in 1984, moved to Williams, leaving them without engines, and they then had to use Hart engines, the same Hart, from Toleman. Emerson was then invited for a test of the 101 model in Jacarepaguá to assess a possible return. He goes to the track, tries a few times, but quickly realizes the cold reality that the Spirit car would be. The one who ended up taking on the venture was the Italian Mauro Baldi. He tackles the first 6 races, retires in 3, fails to qualify in 1, and in the other 2, he manages 2 8th places. Not that bad after all. Later, he goes to race in Group C and leaves the trouble to 𝘾𝙤𝙥𝙮𝙯, who was even Max Verstappen's manager at the start of his career. Did you know that? As for Ayrton Senna, we know he would start his season there in 1984 with the 183B, even scoring points with this car in 𝘾𝙤𝙥, the second round of the championship, and the rest, as we know, is history. But what was history, and not everyone knows, is that 2 generations, reasonably distant in Brazilian motorsport, 2 champions were on the track at the same time, and it wasn't during that test in Indy that Senna did with Penske in 1992 in Emerson's car. And I've already told this story in this video here. It's worth taking a look. So this was another small great story from Splash and Go. I hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, it's free, costs nothing, and helps the channel a lot. Do me this favor, do us this favor. Don't forget to leave your hype and a comment, any comment. It can even be a little emoji, a thumbs up, a checkered flag, whatever. I always ask here because then the algorithm sees it as engagement and spreads our small great story across the internet, and more people get to know the channel. Is that okay? To not miss anything we do here, we have notification channels on Instagram, Telegram, and also WhatsApp. You join and start receiving notifications automatically every time I post something here. Finally, we're sharing our handles here, our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, and TikTok, where there's content all the time. Deal? So that's it. Thanks. And a big hug.